Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing another Premier Draft of Dominaria United, and without further ado, let's just get into it. I'm not a massive fan of any of our uncommons here. I like Dragon Whelp a decent bit though, so that could be the pick. Coral Colony, you do need to go hard at the Defender strategy, which can be very good if you get the White Defender uncommon. Even without it, the Defender Mill strategy has worked out for me one time, so I guess that is a viable option. Shalai's Acolyte's a bit slow. I mean, it's a solid card, but pretty slow, not something I really want to pack one, pick one. And Ravaz is basically a 3-mana, 3/3 menace. A fine card if you end up in red-black, but not really a reason to head in that direction. There's just not enough dragons to try to build around with it. I think I'm just going to go for the Dragon Whelp here. Tellurian Geyser is one of the best commons in our pack. Flowstone Fusion's a great cheap red removal spell, but I think Dragon Whelp has been a pretty solid uncommon for me, so I'll just scoop it up here. Pick 2, we followed up with a whole lot of nothing. This is a very, very bad pack. In my opinion, there's like a Phyrexian Espionage being our best common. Just a decent sorcery speed draw spell. Shore Up is fine as well. Shadow Prophecy is fine in the Domain deck. Nothing good at common though, and the uncommons are not great either. Founding the Third Path is practically unplayable, and Slimefoot Survey is really slow, and it's only for one archetype, the very slow Domain deck. Our rare here has to do with specifically equipment and vehicles. There's just not enough to build around this card in this format. Don't think it's very strong. I could take it anyway. It is digging 7 cards deep for an equipment or a vehicle, but there's just no playable equipment at common or uncommon. They're all just relatively bad, and there's almost no vehicles in this set whatsoever. It's really just not going to pan out. I'm just going to speculate on a dual land here, I guess. Take this red-black dual. In case we head in that direction here off this Dragon Whelp, I don't know. This pack is significantly better. There's Walking Bulwark, which is a pretty nasty card in the Defender strategy, letting you start to beat your opponent to death with your defenders. They're going to be dealing combat damage equal to their toughness rather than their power, so your 3-mana 0/5 blue wall and stuff gets really big. Tura Canurid has been very slow and pretty hard to cast, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But the Bulwark is an interesting defender builder, and I might just hop onto here. Bite Down is a great green removal spell at common. Yavimaya Sojourner is great for domain decks. Can be a pretty cheap 4/6. Monstrosity's fine. Not super exciting, though. I think I'm going to take Walking Bulwark here. Maybe I am heading in the defender direction, even after passing that other defender. We do see a Shield Wall Sentinel here, which is a very, very, very nice card for the Defender strategy, letting you tutor up whatever you need, tutoring up your one copy of Walking Bulwark if you only have one. I think I like the Shield Wall Sentinel here. If we want to go more basic for our red-black deck, we could just take the Shadowrite Priest. There are a few clerics in the set, not enough that this usually does a lot, but enough that I might take it over like a Flowstone Kavu at this point. Just because it's a rare, it's a little more fun, something I'd get to do less often, but I'm just going to take a Shield Wall Sentinel. Now, no defenders here. We do have a blue-black dual land, and the defender decks do tend to be quite a few colors. We do have a really solid common on color, this Coalition Warbrood, if I'm still in red. Not too much else in this pack. Griffin Protector's fine. Protect the Negotiators is pretty good for a blue-white deck, but you really need to kick it for this card to be great. Scout the Wilderness is fine. I think I'm just going to take an Aquifer. Just take a duel here. Ooh, pick 6 Flowstone Infusion. Maybe we are supposed to just be in red still here. Very cheap little removal spell / combat trick sort of thing, and there's nothing really here for the Defender strategy, so take the Flowstone Infusion. No defenders again. Solid red commons again. Solid white commons too. Take up the shield is a pretty huge trick in white. Gains you a ton of life, really turns things around and helps you win a race while also winning whatever combat you play this in. Griffin Protector's fine. I actually like take up the shield better, but I think I just want to take another red common. 2 4-drops already. I might take Kavu over Warbrute, weirdly enough, just to get a little more of a curve going on right now. Another Kavu, a Monstrosity, Gaia's Might, 2 dual lands. Pretty good position to go for domain here if I just take a Haunted Mire. Obviously, we don't have a reason to do that right now, outside of the fact that I know I'm going to get a lot of dual lands at this point. It might be the right thing to just take a Haunted Mire here. The Defender's Domain as the deck. Missing a grand amount. Missing out on another Kavu. Clockwork, Drawbridge, or Sacred Peaks. Drawbridge is pretty fine for the Defender's deck. It gets something locked down. You can obviously tutor it out with the Sentinel. Hopefully we can get these later, though. They're not really high pickups for anybody else. Don't think they're the greatest thing ever. I'm just going to make sure I have really good mana. Now we can take the slow Slimefoot Survey. Pivoting more to domain here. Might not make the cut, but we'll see. This is all utter nonsense. It's not super playable on anything, just very filler, these three creatures. Take a Faith Bonder, I guess. I don't really care. More filler creatures. 3-drop or the 5-drop. Take the filler Game Ender. Don't have any of those yet. We're pretty open here for whatever happens next pack. I don't have anything I'm married to. I could still theoretically be a red-based deck, but I could also be hopping on the Defender strategy. I could also just be whatever I open up and have a dual land already for it. I'll take a Scout the Wilderness over a Splatter Goblin. With the way our mana looks here. Alright, a second Walking Bulwark is pretty huge. Although I don't know if we can get this to wheel. I would really like it to. I feel like I have to take Llanowar or Green Widow, because even if we are this Domain Defenders deck, the Green Widow is going to be really nice. Maybe not quite as good as Bulwark for this deck, but infinitely less likely to wheel, and infinitely better if we don't get a lot of Defenders, of which we currently have 2. So I think it's probably got to be the Llanowar Green Widow here. 3 mana, 4/3 Reach Trample, comes back from the graveyard one time. Just a very good deal. Pack 2, pick 2, we've got some dual lands. And that's really the only thing I'm excited about here at all. Talus Lookout's fine, Bohar's pretty good for blue-black. You kind of have to have blue-black at the core of your deck to play this anytime early. It definitely won't be the core of our deck. Tailswipe's fine if you have a lot of big creatures, but we don't. Stronghold Arena, also probably similar. You just want a lot of creatures, which we don't really have. I think I'm just going to take another dual land here. I'll take another one with red in it, because I'm likely to end up with some of these random red cards in my deck at the end, even if I am 5-color. Anything spicy in here? Got 1 Clockwork Drawbridge again. Yavimaya Sojourner at this point is looking pretty good for this deck, though. Magnagoth Sentry as well is just a solid filler creature, good blocker for any green deck. Yeah, I think these green cards are the best for us right now. Lands are okay. I think I'm going to take the Sojourner. It's cooler for the strategy. Although I guess it wheels more than Magnagoth Sentry does, because anybody can play Magnagoth Sentry. But that's too bad. I'm taking Sojourner. Ooh, Weatherseed Treaty is beautiful, but so is Tachiova. I think we have to take Tachiova over the Weatherseed Treaty, but these are both incredible cards. Tachiova is a really obnoxiously powerful win condition if you have 7 or more lands. You start turning every land that you play into a 3/3 flyer with haste. It'll remain a creature even if Tachiova dies, but it will lose flying if Tachiova dies, but that's still ridiculous. Turning every draw into your deck into a good draw, because any non-land you can cast, any land you play as a creature. Tachiova's a busted magic card. We're going to take her here. Weatherseed Treaty, huge enabler for these domain decks, but gotta take the big bomb of Tachiova over that. Lightning Strike's solid here. We might be green-red at the core, splash a little blue. That's what it's looking like. So Lightning Strike's gonna be pretty castable for us. Cheap removal. Oh, Nishoba Brawler's absolutely beautiful. We're gonna have a high domain count. This is gonna be a large creature for cheap. Tribute to Urborg would be fine as well. It's gonna be a little bit of a harder splash for us though. But it would be fine if we were really hurting for removal. I have 2 removal spells right now that can kill small things. I think I'm sticking to Brawler. There's also Flowstone Infusion. This is a great pack. I want all 3 of these cards for this deck, but I'm going to take the one that says Domain on it. Now we have Jaya's Fire Nado, which is slower removal. The cheap but hard to cast removal spell of Tribute to Urborg. The Tolarian Terror for another big win condition type creature. Or a Deathbloom Gardener for fixing, or Geothermal Bog for more domain. Pretty hard decision here. I like all this stuff. I think I'm going to take Tribute to Urborg. I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to take more cheap removal. Wow, now we have Niall and Sunbathing Root Walla and a blue-white duel. Niall's really good if you get domain. You start drawing the best card out of your top 5 every time you hit your opponent with her. Sunbathing Root Walla is always good. A 2-mana creature that has a pump effect for 4. If you're domain, it's incredibly good, because it's 4 mana for +5/+5, but I'm going to take Niall first. The bigger, splashier, more fun card. A pretty easy bog. I like Librarian because no matter what's going on with your mana, you can always cast it. Scry 2 on ETB is fine. I like it definitely better than Tortoise, but it might be Lookout here. We are splashing a little blue. Lookout's going to be kind of hard to cast, though. I don't know. I'm going to take Librarian over Lookout. That might be wrong, but I just really don't like that the Lookout costs us double blue to cast it in one of our splash colors. Snare Spinner, I've main decked it before. I'll main deck it again if I don't get enough good playables. Don't love the Tortoise still, so Snare Spinner or Barkweave Crusher. I think I'm a bigger fan of either of those. Sure, I'll go Crusher. Okay. Start scooching a bunch of stuff over. Scooch my non-creature spells over. So I can look at my creature curve. And then everything I'm probably not playing, move all the way to the side. Whoop. Nice thing about domain decks is you get to splash bombs like King Darien. A 3-mana 2/3 that gives all of your other creatures +1/+1 and spits out 1/1 tokens for 5 mana while buffing itself. King Darien is a completely absurd card, and we are going to scoop it up here. Would love to take Mossbeard Ancient or Nishoba Brawler as well, but I'm not going to take them over Darien. And I'm going to take this time here to sort my non-creature stuff out and cut these random dorks. I think this is my curve of creatures. Looks actually not terrible for a domain deck. You're not going to have a lot of cheap ones in these kind of decks. Oh! Do I get to play a Joda deck today? My mana's kind of there, and I have 3 other legendaries. The way that Joda works is whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, you get to cascade into another legendary spell from your deck and cast that for free. Screw it. I mean, I don't see much else to take here. There's another Scout the Wilderness or Slimefoot Survey or a Yavimaya Sojourner or the land, but Joda's a fun one. You gotta try that at least one time. Now we got a Bortuck Bone Rattle for a 6-mana legendary, really good with Joda, and really good in a domain deck, period. When you have a high domain count, this picks up pretty much anything from your graveyard, puts it back on the battlefield. Really happy with that. Would love to wield a Vine Wall here. Another legendary, Rada Coalition Warlord. Do I want to be that all in on Joda that I'm taking legendaries over duels when duels are so good for this deck? Probably not. Wooded Ridgeline's a really good dual land for this deck too, because green and red are the most important colors. I think I'd take Ridgeline over Rada. I mean, Rada also has a really great domain ability. It's probably wrong, but I'm just going to take Rada because Joda's really begging for a super high legend count. Okay, we've got dual lands in here. We've also got a legend. This one's pretty weak, though, in our deck. Generally, it's pretty good, but our deck's not really going to often dump out a ton of creatures. Plaza of Heroes, maybe, actually. 1 mana for any color for legendaries specifically. Tap for a mana of any color among legendaries you control. Oh my god! We're really doing it, aren't we? Plaza of Heroes now for the legendary tribal deck. Now we take a Deathbloom Gardener to help hit these costs. I think that's good enough that we take it over Sunlit Marsh. Actually, Shieldred's Restoration is kind of spicy for this kind of deck too, but I take the Deathbloom Gardener. Dual land or Vine Wall, I'll take the Vine Wall. Pulling out lands from the top 6. Oh my god, that is a late Wing Mantle Chaplain. Come on in. I guess we're doing a bit of a defender strategy in our deck as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 duels. There's 7 lands in here, which means 32 minus 7. This is 25 cards. I don't even have to cut them any cards. Just cut these Crushers, I guess. And we've kind of just already got the deck built. Legendary Defenders. Legendaries and Defenders. I'd love another Gardener, but I think a Root Walla is really good in this kind of deck, and I'm pretty low on 1 and 2 mana cards for blocking more aggressive strategies. This could be wrong again. Probably should be taking Mana Fixing a bit higher, but I'm taking Root Walla here. Another Slimefoot Surveyor, another Scout the Wilderness. I think I prefer Scout the Wilderness just because it's much cheaper. Slimefoot Survey does get 2 lands, but I'll take Scout. Okay, the rest is going to be a bunch of stuff that we're not playing, most likely. This is a deck. This is really a deck today. Might not play the Snare Spinner, the Automatic Librarian, the Elfheim Worm. These seems like some of our weakest cards. Dragon Whelp is also pretty bad if you don't have a heavy red count, and red is getting a little more splashy here. If I really want defenders, I can play an Academy Wall, I guess. I don't think I want defenders that badly, so I'm going to take Artillery Blast just in case I want more removal. Okay. This will be a fun deck to play no matter what happens here. I'm pretty hyped up for this deck. We only need to cut 3 cards. Definitely got some filler creatures in the middle here, like Snare Spinner. All of our other 2-drops are kind of perfect for Domain. They're literally Domain cards and a card that helps pull out a land. Definitely doing a bit of Defender Tribal, so I want the Bulwark. Kavu, another card that gets a lot weaker without a heavy amount of red mana, so Kavu and Dragon Whelp actually seem like pretty bad here. We're not going to have a lot of red mana. They're only really good with decks with a hefty focus on red, which we are far from having here. Librarian's a little filler, but I already have 3 creatures aside that I think are all worse than the Librarian in this deck. We have enough win conditions that Elfheim Worm's pretty dang filler in here as well. Just all these random legendaries to try to win with, so I could cut that. And then for non-creatures, we definitely need all the removal we have, but the ramp spells can be a bit slow. Slimefoot Survey especially. Just incredibly slow. So I think I kind of want to cut Slimefoot Survey and 2 of these creatures. Probably keep the cheaper creatures, so keep Snare Spinner, cut Elfheim Worm, Dragon Whelp. Because Dragon Whelp has a double red entry fee. Even though the Kavu wants a lot of red mana to pump a lot, you only need the one to at least get it on the board. I think we'll do this here. It's an 18 creature deck though, maybe I am playing a Slimefoot Survey. Does not look like it should be an 18 creature deck. Oh, I have a second Automatic Librarian. So I could put that in instead. It's another Slimefoot Survey or an Artillery Blast. We actually might just want Artillery Blast in here. Probably do. It's going to do a lot of damage to a tapped creature. Sure, it's only hitting tapped creatures, but our deck looks generally pretty defensive until it just drops a bomb win condition. So we're gonna be on the defensive the majority of the game anyway. So Artillery Blast actually looks fine in here. I just don't like it that much because most white decks are pretty aggressive because there's so much token production and just solid aggressive creatures. But in a deck like this, Blast is perfectly playable. It's perfectly fine. So I think I actually want that in here instead of another 5 mana way to to get some lands out, so I have a real difficult mana base here to play around with, but I think this is going to be the deck outside of the mana. So we've got 15 green cards and about 3 or 4 of everything else. Yeah, that's it's math time. We only have 6 green sources right now. That is super rough. When green gives us access to Scout the Wilderness and Deathbloom Gardener, it's a very important color. And Floriferous Vine Wall. Definitely want at least 8 green sources. So let's just put that up to 8 right now. 8 green sources. Everything else we want to be right around even, right? 2 black cards, Bone Rattle, Urborg, and then Joda. And 2 blue cards, Niall, Techyova, and Joda. 3 red cards, Rada, Lightning Strike, Flowstone Infusion. 3 white cards, Wingmantle, Darien, Archery Blast. Yeah, it's really, really close on everything. Got an important blue kicker on Urborg, an important white kicker on Scout. I think we have to try to just make it as even as possible in the other colors. So let's cut 2 lands right now. Uh-oh. If I want 1 of every land, I can't cut 2. Maybe we'll do a 41 card special with 18 lands. Let's see. Okay, so black sources currently 4 black sources. 5, if we include the swamp, that is more than enough. I don't want to have to cut a swamp because I'd like to ideally have 1 of each basic for Scout the Wilderness, but I might. We move on to blue sources, and we see 2. That is significantly less than black. Blue gives us Niall and Techyova. We might be on double island, so we have 3. I guess Plaza of Heroes casts every blue spell we have, except for Tribute to Urborg's kicker cost. So it's kind of like 3 blue sources. I'll leave it for now, see if any color's worse. White, we have 3 as well. And Plaza of Heroes only casts King Darien. It's probably okay though. Our white cards are pretty late game. Artillery Blast, Wingmantle, Chaplain, King Darien. I guess Techyova's pretty late game as well. Niall we do quite 1 on turn 4. Black source we can wait till later too. Pretty much all of our off colors, it's kind of okay if we get stuck on them for a moment. So maybe 3 of everything is good enough. In red we have 5? Oh my god. We probably want them because red's the only color we really want early game because we want Lightning Strike and Flowstone Infusion. I might just 41 card this thing, so we can have 1 of every basic land for our Scout the Wilderness. Again, if anything, looking at these colors, red is looking really good, and black is looking really good, so we could maybe cut a mountain or a swamp. Probably a swamp to put in another island. That would probably be the change. Cut a swamp for an island here. That's still 4 black sources. That's still 1 out of 10. And the only card that would need it would be Tribute to Urborg. Because Bortuk and Joda can get cast off Plaza of Heroes, which kind of makes it like 5 black sources. This does something else too, doesn't it? You can exile it to give your legendary hexproof and indestructible. Just randomly save your bomb. That's hilarious. Alright, I could see cutting a swamp for an island, but again, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to run the 1 of everything, except for 8 green sources. And this is going to be the deck. Alright, here we are with the final version of this deck, the one that we will be playing in the gameplay. We are a green-based domain strategy here with some very, very spicy synergies, one of which is Joda the Unifier with a relatively legendary heavy deck. So if we get a Joda on the board, it's probably going to be pretty big and buff our other legendaries, and if we cast another legendary with Joda on the board, we'll get to cascade into another one for free, which is absolutely nuts. We also have a little bit of defender synergies with Shield Wall Sentinel to tutor up a Wingmantle Chaplain. That is always a very sick combo. We've also got a Floriferous Vine Wall to up the defender count and Walking Bulwark to potentially let those defenders attack. Other than that, we have some okay mana fixing. Decent bit of dual lands, a Plaza of Heroes to cast all of our legendaries, and a couple Scout the Wilderness to tutor for our basics, that's why we have one of each in here, and Deathbloom Gardener to add 1 mana of any color. So hopefully our mana fixing can get us there and let us play whatever bomb we draw in whatever game. Say, get our white source if we draw King Darien, help get our blue source if we draw Niall, or black source if we draw Bortuk, so on and so forth. Other than that, just some fine removal spells in here to try to stay alive, but we'll see how the deck plays as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are in game 1. I am going to keep this hand. We've got a turn 2 pretty big Nishoba Brawler. We've got to Scout the Wilderness to make it even bigger. And we're going to have most of our lands for Joda. But I will need to draw all non-green lands here, because if I don't draw another black or red source, I technically don't have black and red. I just have black or red right now. But turn 2, 3/3 Trampler. It's a pretty good start to a game, and we can make it a 4/3 next turn if our opponent doesn't have a good blocker for it. Or cheap removal. They do have the cheap removal. The Brawler is getting arrested, but that means Joda is more likely to stick around. So that's one less removal spell for our opponent. We'll just go for a Sunbathing Root Walla here. I could pull out a blue source with the Scout the Wilderness, so I have all 5 colors, but again, I need a second red or black source to cast Joda anyway, so I think I would rather just put more threats on this board and wait till we can kick the Scout the Wilderness. Could Lightning Strike the Gardener, that seems fine to me. Opponent is stuck on 3 mana. They had 3 mana last turn, 3 mana this turn, so they might need it for mana. I guess I'll attack in, and the trade is fine. If that happens, I Sojourner, and then if we don't trade, then I'll strike the Gardener, because that means they really want the mana. Because they know this Root Walla will be attacking as like a 6/6 later in the game. Alright. I will take that as a sign they do quite want the Gardener, and I'll just shoot it here. Feels a little bad not just slamming down a 4/6 this turn, but the opponent was stuck on mana here. We know they missed their 4th land drop, and we know that they chose not to trade their Death Toucher into something that can be threatening to be a 6/6. Alright, Mesa Cavalier, that's pretty fine. Here's a Walking Bulwark. Not really going to do anything for us right now. But I can cast Bulwark and Sojourner in the same turn. Or I can buff Root Wall and cast Bulwark. Still don't feel the need to Scout the Wilderness. So if I pull out the blue source and then draw a blue duel, that's going to be pretty awkward and not great. So I'm going to save the Scout until I know for sure what 5th color I need to pull. Blue, red, or black. Opponent has hit their 4th land now. And we'll see what they can do with it. They do have 5 cards in their hand. Shield Wall Sentinel. Hopefully they did not get their own Wingmantle Chaplain. If they have multiple Shield Wall Sentinels, the play is usually Shield Wall Sentinel into Shield Wall Sentinel as often as you can, and then tutor for something with the last one. Alright, now we really need the blue source, so I think we are going to scout the wilderness this turn. Threaten a buff Root Walla first, though. Maybe we'll just buff a Root Walla this turn. If they just block with Shield Wall Sentinel, I think I'll just let it stay on the board. Our opponent is in white, though, so we do have to fear the Wing Mantle Chaplain. But if they block with Cavalier, I'm buffing Root Walla. Yeah, snap buff. Floriferous Vine Wall is the play. Trying to hit some lands here still. They could be missing another color right now. Just pull out another forest. Maybe they just need more lands. Well, now they only have 3 mana up, so they can't cast the Shield Wall Sentinel. 1 mana away from Bortuck. Well, I don't have to buff Root Wall on any blocks here, but I can threaten to. This is super cool with me, because now we kill the Vine Wall no matter what. Grab an island. Temporary lockdown, that's pretty dang good. Practically a one-sided Wrath, but we get to keep our Sojourner out at least. Very strong card. The fact that it exiled as well is pretty brutal, because now our Bortuck Bone Rattle's just not going to do anything. Much as I'd love to slam it down next turn. We draw any red or black source. We get to play Jodah the turn after next turn. If we draw a Mountain, Swamp, or Plaza of Heroes, then we get to cast Jodah next turn. We'll see what we get here. Opponent's going to drop a 3/2 Yavimaya Iconoclast. We just get a forest. So Niall it is. Because again, Bortuck doesn't do anything right now. It's going to go down to 6 here. No black from our opponent. I'm not going to worry about them forcing us to discard a card. I guess if they make us discard a card, we could discard Jodah and then bring Jodah back with Bortuck, because we actually have full domain. Ooh, it's our own Shield Wall Sentinel. Well, Niall against Niall is pretty annoying. I actually think I have to pick up a Floriferous Vine Wall here instead of a Wing Mantle. So if I pick up a Wing Mantle, I'm not casting it this turn anyway, so it'll just be another play for next turn. It is going to threaten 2 1/1 flyers on the board. I feel like I pick up the Vine Wall, so I just know I have mana to cast these things next turn instead. I guess I'm just attacking with Sojourner currently. Niall is doing nothing on attacks. Probably just killing their Iconoclast. Maybe their Shield Wall Sentinel. No, we're going to put them to 2. That does make the Wing Mantle Chaplain slightly more tempting. 2 life and we can make 2 1/1 flyers. Could be the wrong choice, but I'm still going to Vine Wall. Not playing a second spell here feels pretty rough. Alright, now we do have the mana for Jodah next turn, because this can be used for red and this can be used for black. Green, white, blue, red, black. And if I cast Jodah, that's going to make Niall a 4/6, because all my legendaries will get +2/+2. So then Niall gets to attack into their Niall. whatever they do here, I just hope that they tap out, so I don't have to think about interaction. Alright, Shield Wall Sentinel number 2 is here. Picking up Academy Wall. Okay, they did not get a Wing Mantle Chaplain. Phyrexian Missionary just as a lifelinker on the ground. Fair enough. It's your boy, Joda. Worth attacking with a 4/6 on the ground? I might as well. Give something... Put something in my grave for Bortuk to bring back, or just clear out another blocker here. Alright, clear out a blocker and get something engraved for Bortuk. I think I clear out the lifelink. If they have the Wingmantle Chaplain in hand and they go basic land, Academy Wall Wingmantle Chaplain, that'll be pretty bad. So I could kill Shield Wall Sentinel, save they have less defenders, but... Playing around a pretty corner case, I think I kill the lifelink. Alright, now I can put the Sojourner back into my hand with Bone Rattle. Just because I'm going to want to cast it to Cascade with Joda anyway, so even though I don't get to bring something back to the battlefield, still nice I get to put something in hand. Wow, yeah, they have the Wingmantle in hand. I should have killed the Defender. Luckily they didn't hit the basic land there, so they couldn't play Academy Wall into the Chaplain. But that is moderately annoying. They're just going to scoop them up. So they have chump blockers for quite some time now, but maybe that's all the gas they have. I was going to say they play an Academy Wall next turn, get another flyer. But scoop them up is fine with me too. I guess they see a Joda that's just going to pop off. I'm going to Cascade again here. Alright, 1-0 it is, I guess. Alright, here we are now in game 2 of this domain draft. Not great mana going on here, the Techova in hand. But we've got a Bulwark and we know we can Artillery Blast for 4 damage. This might be an okay keep. I don't really need the blue source till 7. I'm not in love with it, but I think I'm good to chill with it. Plains is a pretty awkward draw after Sacred Peaks, but that means we have green, white, and red mana now. Alright, ooh, that's a draw and a half. Now we've got a bomb. King Darien. Opponent is going to Impulse now. Look at the top 4 cards of their library and put 1 into hand and the rest on the bottom. They're on blue, white, and green. Weatherseed Treaty now. Pulls out a Swamp, so another domain kind of deck here. Now that I have a Bortuk, I'm kind of free to just let Darien get killed by removal here. Because otherwise I'm not playing anything this turn, and by getting Darien down this turn, next turn I can just spend all of my mana into making a 1/1 and putting a counter on Darien. That is, if they don't have a way to kill Darien here. Most of the mana that they've shown us is blue as well, so hopefully it's just a bunch of counterspells. And Darien is just pretty chill now that he's on the board. Fine Shaper Prodigy, that is not going to kill the king. Oh, I need 5 mana to use this ability. Never mind, I've got nothing to do next turn anyway. Once I have 5 mana, I will... Ooh, wow, yeah, we're going to hit all the colors we need for Bortuk. Attack with a 4/4 Bulwark here. Does attack better than it blocks. Because I can only use this ability as a sorcery, so I can't use it on blocks to make this a 4/4 blocker. I still have an artillery blast up. Alright, we're killing the sapperling, passing the turn. About to take 6 damage from this Vine Shaper Prodigy. I guess I could shoot it. It's 5 damage though, so I can't. If I had full domain, the artillery blast would do 6 damage. I think I'd rather keep it anyway. Because that's just going to be a 2/2 every other turn. Bite down. Well, now I'd rather kill it. But I can't kill it. Because it's 4... I'm sorry, it's 5 and not 6. 4 basic land types plus 1, yeah. Alright, Darien, goodbye. Sadness on the stack, but turn 6 Bone Rattle will get that back. Can Librarian and attack with Bulwark again. I'm not going to hold up an Artillery Blast to kill their 2/2. They should not have haste in their color pairs. Their color quadruple, green, white, blue, black. You're thinking about countering my... That is A-okay. They let me draw a card when they counter that too? That is super fine. Ooh, Plaza of Heroes. That means Tachiova is going to come down turn 7 right before I play my 7th land. Now I'm just holding on to Blast, I guess. We'll shoot Urtai for 3, I suppose. Alright, smash me for 3. No, you know, yeah, I will just shoot Urtai. Not actually doing that much on board, but it's the only thing that's actually damaging me. And I don't have enough domain to kill the Yavimaya Sojourner anyway. I guess I would now that I drew Scout the Wilderness, but we're going to play Bone Rattle this turn. On Darien. And pass the turn. Next turn we'll cast Tachiova and then play a land. So that we turn one of our lands into a creature. Should be some pretty explosive, pretty balmy stuff. Time to take 4 damage. Guess they can use a trick to kill Bone Rattle. Honestly, not actually the end of the world. Maybe they're planning to remove Darien. So they use a removal spell on Darien and Bone Rattle dies in the crossfire now. Sure. That's basically just using a trick on Bone Rattle, that's fine. Darian is still around next turn. Alright, opponent drawn some cards. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, if I had one more mana, I could Joda and immediately Cascade. Force my opponent to feel real bad about the Darian bounce. I think I have to just play Tachyova here, though. Guess I picked the green source. I'm tempted to scout the wilderness so I know I can Joda Darian next turn. And I've just got a bunch of lands sitting around. Thanks to the Plaza of Heroes, I can Joda Darian next turn. I am gonna have to tap all my land creatures to do it though. Probably chump blocking with Bulwark now. Oh wait, if I Joda Darian, I don't even Cascade anyway. Because I don't have a 2-mana legend in my deck. Well, I guess I should have just replayed Darian that turn. I was so preoccupied with whether I could that I did not stop to think if I should. I guess we just hold on to Joda then. It's not like I'm attacking with any of my legends. We'll just play Darian and buff the lands. Another Sojourner is very bad for me. Attack my opponent for 12 here, so do really put in work to try to outrace them. I can chump with Darian next turn and I'll still have 3/3/3 flyers minimum if Tachyova is still on the board. If they have a removal spell here though, then that is going to turn things around. I don't have the mana to use Plaza of Heroes to save a legend right now. Need 3 mana and that. 8, 9, 10. If they have the +X trick, I'm just dead. It'd be +5/+5 here, so 4, 8 + 5 is 13. They need 2 tricks to kill me if I block Find Shaper Prodigy. If they have +2/+1 to everybody, I would die, but they don't have double white. If they have their red and 2 +2/+0 to everybody, they'd kill me, but I have no idea why their deck would run that. And they're like a 5-color deck with just a tiny red splash. Yeah, I could think Gaia's Might here for +5/+5 or Strength of the Coalition. +3/+3 to one and +1/+1 to another. That'd be another 4 damage. Hit me 8 + 4 is 12. I think I just block like this. Scout the Wilderness. That is not flying blockers. Land for turn. Instant speed removal on Techioba, though, would let them block all my lands. Okay, they are going to scoop them up. So I don't have to stress about it anymore. We are going to be 2-0. No instant speed removal there, though. I guess, actually, if they tried to use instant speed removal, I could just hold up the Plaza and give Techioba hexproof. So it would have been, they would have had to use it in the end step there, so we knew we were safe because of Plaza of Heroes. Nice. 2-0 for this just 5-color legendary nonsense. 5-color nonsense does definitely seem like one of the strongest strategies in this format. Because I think our mana isn't even that good, but we've been doing really well so far. And I've done pretty well with previous 5-color decks in the early access. Alright, here we are on the play again. Pretty awkward hand. Only having green mana here, but Vine Wall can fix that. We've got a Brawler and a Root Walla for threats. I'm going to keep it here because of the Vine Wall. We're probably going to turn to the Brawler and then play the Vine Wall and play our land turn 3. Uh-oh. We are really hoping this Vine Wall finds some good stuff here. Playing against a black-red. They start with Sulphurous Springs into Phyrexian Vivisector. What do you got for us, Vine Wall? Oh my god. How do we have exclusively green sources in the top 7 plus 6 plus 2? Top 15 cards? Okay. We have exclusively green sources in the top 15 cards of our deck. Alright, Lagomos is not bad for us, because we've got multiple 3 toughness blockers. They do get to scry every turn, which is pretty nice. But if the top of their deck looks anything like ours, they're not going to get what they need for at least another 7 cards. Wow. Yeah, this is not good at all. We're not under any pressure here, so we can kind of just sit here and wait, at least. Well, that's the one color that's not good here. I should not have said how bad my mana was, because Arena's gonna punish me this game. Good gravy. At least opponent is stuck on 3 mana. I think the only defender left is the Chaplain, but I don't even have a white source. Sure is. Phyrexian Warhorse coming down, at least it's not kicked. But that can use their 2/1 tokens pretty well. They can sacrifice those to the Warhorse to attack with a 5/4. Alright, well, we're on the way. Slowly but surely. We're working our way from worst to best colors to draw. Started with multiple green, then we got a black, then we got a red. That means now we're going to get blue, and then we're going to get white last. That would be the idea. Okay. They get to kill one of our flyers here, I guess. Unless they have a lightning strike, I guess they get to kill both of these. Yeah, you can stop one of my Wingmantle Chaplain triggers since I don't even know if I'm ever going to get to cast it this game. Got 7 mana here. Probably just hold up a Root Wall as a pretty ridiculous blocker. I don't love attacking with Rada because they can block with their 2/2 and 1/3, but I feel like I have to put some kind of pressure on them at some point. Just make a really big brawler. Sure. Still have pretty good blocks thanks to Root Wall. Oh, there's no blocks whatsoever. We will deal 11. Opponent has found their green source. And a Fire NATO on Rada. It's pretty okay. Deathbloom Gardener is significantly better than a lot of things we could have hit here. Just gotta hope they don't have another removal spell to throw at it. Probably send in Root Walla 6/6. We got 5 power. That's a 5/5. They could actually block with everything. We have 7 lands out, and Root Wall is just a 5/5. Yeah, I did the math wrong. This is still good for me, though, I think. Right, kill these two. I think that's still, all in all, a pretty good deal. Yeah, I was gonna say, pretty sure they already scryed one to the top, so they're not getting any extra value off the Vivisector. Quirion Beastcaller, that is a Mega Bomb. Gets a +1/+1 counter every time they cast a creature spell, and when it dies, it puts all its counters elsewhere. Oh my god. At least we have a Deathbloom Gardener, so we can drop Chaplain or Niall. Probably drop Chaplain here so that I don't feel bad about starting to attack with defenders. Although, not like I can attack with Bulwark anymore because it just trades into Beastcaller anyway. It might be okay though, the only other creatures I could attack with are a 2/2. Let Bulwark die here. This is every defender in my deck is on the board, so I'm just losing the ability to attack with the Chaplain. And the Vine Wall. Yeah, this is the only turn they might actually matter as attackers anyway. Alright, we hit our opponent down to 7 and pass the turn. Hurler's Cyclops is kind of disastrous for me if they blow up my Deathbloom Gardener before I untap. They did not, and I hit the white source anyway. But I guess it's not the blue source for Niall. Just drop Niall before they can blow up my Gardener. Their plan is probably to blow up my flyers. Unfortunately, Brawler just gets blocked by Erg. I think I just send in the flyers. Alright, they're going to start hurling some nonsense at my birds. Goodbye, Phyrexian Vivisector. They're going to take 2, they are down to 5. Could go wide pretty soon. If I tried to go wide that turn though, they still have 4 blockers for my 4 attackers and they could stack some good blocks on. Beast Caller is getting very scary, and a Molten Monstrosity is another 5/5 on their board. At least that means they have to sacrifice some good cards to kill my birds. Never mind, that's kind of the perfect creature here, because it shoots one of my birds from the Cyclops, and then it -1/-1's the other bird. Seems good. Snare Spinner seems pretty bad. At least Niall's getting in. Don't actually have full domain right now, so we're not drawing a card off of Niall, we're just setting up our next draw step. Those are pretty good cards. I think King Darien pretty much seals the deal. Basically, immediately, Jodah takes a little while to do it. Jodah does make Niall a 4/4, but she only needs to be 3 power. Or a 4/6. She only needs to be 3 power, so King Darien also kills our opponent immediately, while buffing the rest of our board, which seems probably important. And I am just going to play Snare Spinner out since I have King Darien on top to buff the entire board. They have 1 card in their hand. This turn we make Niall 3 power, and then we go wide with everybody. So we kill them even through 1 removal spell. If I attack everybody and they shoot Niall, they have 4 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4. They take 4 damage still. If I attack with everybody and they kill King Darien, they take 2 there. Block, 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 still take 1. Yep. Unless their 1 card in hand is very good. Unless their 1 card in hand can work as like 2 removal spells here. Oh yeah, Erg can gain them life. Well, they can't crack back for lethal here, but this was actually a pretty bad attack, because they can gain life. God, I feel like Erg is generally just like a kind of nonsense card, but it gets so much value off the fact that it's so easy to just forget the last part of Erg, because it just sits there doing nothing so long that you kind of just forget it can gain life. That's pretty frustrating. Obviously not ideal here. They could actually theoretically find lethal. If they can kill King Darien now. Off the top. That would be monumentally frustrating. Oh, they're just scooping them up? Can they not live? Because if they have, I guess they would need removal and to sack lands to Urg. They can sack 2 to gain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be at 7 life. Okay. I got real worried there when I remembered that Urg ability. Because yeah, if they had a removal spell, then they could use the removal spell and Urg's ability and kill a bunch of my board this turn and really turn things around, maybe even lethal me on the crackback. So I don't know, I don't think that attack was right. Obviously it got us the kill this turn, but if they had something as simple as Extinguish the Light, I guess, they would be able to kill King Darien, gain 3 life with Extinguish the Light to be at 6, then they're taking 2, 3, 4, 5 on board, go to 1. I guess that would be even if they didn't have Urg's ability, and then they could gain another life, sacking a land with Urg, another 2 life. Then I have no blockers. They would crack in for 6 plus 5, 11 plus 5, 16 plus 1, 17. Then they could just sack their board to Cyclops, or they could have sacked some lands to Urg. That was a bad attack. I don't think that was the right play. I was probably supposed to just attack with Niall, because we scoop to Extinguish the Light big time. Because Extinguish the Light is destroy a card. If it costs 3 or less, gain 3 life. Yeah, that would have been very, very bad for us, but having a pretty lucky draft here. Gonna just start it off 3-0, I believe. Just luck sacking our way out of some rough plays here. 3-0 heading into game 4. Alright, here we go in round 4 with really nice mana. Maybe the nice mana that we've ever drawn, but definitely way better than last game's mana. I think last game I learned my lesson. Don't rely on the Flurfur's Vine Wall to hit a non-green land. Because that was like the whole reason I kept, and then I was like, oh, I guess I don't have a non-green source for many, many cards. Made things very awkward for me. Playing against blue-red, they're a pretty aggressive tempo deck. In blue-red, you can have a lot of evasive cards like flyers, as well as a good amount of ways to bounce my creatures and really slow me down here. I think I want to buff the Brawler's power here. And race a little. Because we've got a tribute to Urborg for their flyer whenever we need it later. I guess I don't need to play the Deathbloom Gardener this turn. I could just tribute right now. Stop the maximum amount of damage possible. I think I'm still gonna just play the Gardener. I like being ready to just slam down a top deck Joda if I'm lucky. Never mind. Snap trade, get out of my face, get out of my life. Oops. Unfortunately, Squee can come back from the grave later if they have enough cards in their grave. But Squee's pretty horrific for us. This Kavu's actually looking incredibly threatening because its ability to buff itself up with Menace as well here, and we're at 12 life. Am I even still racing at this point with Brawler? I'm stopping 1 damage by not attacking with it unless I play another creature this turn. Stopping 1 goblin damage because I'm not stopping a Kavu with it unless I double block. I could play Shield Wall to be able to double block Kavu. I can only kill 1 of my 2 cards. And I can pick up a... Oh, I can pick up the white wall, but I don't have the white mana anyway. Pick up like a Bulwark here. Just doesn't feel great. This might be dumb, but I think I'm attacking with a Brawler. I don't really want to play Rada and double block. I think I'm just going to tribute to Urborg somebody here. Alright, they're not going to buff the Kavu, so I guess we're killing the flyer. Take 3 down to 9. Frost Fist Strider, yeah, this is just a disgusting tempo curve. Even the rare squee in the middle to make their board really wide. We're pretty dead. Don't think there was any line to get out of this one. Just gonna be in a mountain of pain. They hit us for 8 now on board, and then just lightning strike my face if their deck is just perfect. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a disgusting deck for my opponent. Very, very well built. Blue-red tempo deck. That kind of deck is pretty much always going to demolish your slower domain builds. Unfortunate matchup. 3-1 now, heading into game 5. And I think I learned my lesson from round 3, and I'm not going to keep this hand again. Sure, I have Deathbloom Gardener if I hit a 3rd land, but not a guarantee. This looks much better mana-wise. I can get rid of this Snare Spinner. Hope I'm not against aggro. If I am, I have a Lightning Strike. Once again, just lacking the white mana. Phyrexian Missionary, turn 2. You hate to see it. Probably just shooting it. And there's their own Snare Spinner. Ooh, scout the wilderness to pull out a plains. I do need to draw a red or black source to cast this Joda, but then I'll be able to cast the white defender off of the shield wall sentinel. Taking our 1 Snare Spinner damage. We've drawn a tribute to Urborg. Pretty solid if I need to kill something. -4/-4 at this point. Might pick up a Vine Wall, try to get a red or black land here. Get a little greedy about it. Yeah, I mean, Chaplain's not very good against this spider, so I'll take a Vine Wall. Our 1/1 flyers aren't going to do anything if there's only 2 of them and we're facing a spider. Territorial Morrow. Well, I guess they'll trump block a Morrow. Ooh. ¿Por qué no los dos? Yeah. Let's just Vine Wall, get our mana, and then drop Chaplain. I guess it really doesn't matter, the order. I think I already played a land this turn, so I take the untapped one so I know I can Joda next turn. Yeah, I did. Alright, we've got the Chumpers. That's an 8/8 Territorial Morrow. That is really scary. Sojourner's pretty scary too. You're getting the firm beat down here. Hey, Joda, hope to draw some legends, because Tribute's only doing -4/-4. Teared my ass apart. Alright, we're gonna take 12 now. Now I'm probably just dead. This is just a really solid draw, just massive dudes and good removal. Good stuff. I don't have any I guess I have 1 defender left in my deck, so we chump like this, or I just take 4 and keep chumping to 8. Llanowar Loom Speaker is a very, very good card. It's mana fixing in the early game and another threat in the late game. Animates their lands into 3/3s that will attack us. Alright, -4/-4. I guess I actually tried to do this. This might blow up in my face, but... Let's see. Okay, we actually killed a 4/6 there. I probably should have done that last turn. No, this is really not ideal. I cry every time. Jesus Christ, opponent's deck is loaded with gigantic threats. Those are the worst kind of creatures for us because we don't have any removal for that. Opponent gets to pilfer my hand and see exactly how doomed I am. Some pretty nice value there. We made our opponent discard a pilfer for nothing, which is cool. This gives me another chump blocker. Final draw step, what have we got? Yep, seems about right. Unfortunate game there. Not a very fun matchup for us yet again. Our deck does not have any removal that can kill big creatures late game, so running up against double Morrow is pretty brutal. We did run out of gas pretty hard there, but I don't think that our shot was that great, even if I drew really well. Our deck is not prepared for the big Morrows. Definitely showing off our deck's biggest flaws these last couple games. 3 games ago, show off the flaw with our mana. Last game, showed off the flaw of just being a slower strategy. And then that game showing off we don't have any removal that kills 8/8s. So 3-2 it is. I'll keep this here. We've got red, white, green, potentially blue off Scout the Wilderness. Slower hand again, so if we're against a really fast blue-red deck, I'm probably dead, but maybe I'll have a solid matchup here. Also, going on the play a lot here is pretty bad. Looks like it's a blue-red deck, and we're on the draw. Or sorry, being on the draw a lot is pretty bad, is what I meant to say last turn. Yeah, we're probably out of this event. This was a really fun deck, going for the 5-color legendary kind of thing. Pretty fun time, and I do think the archetype is viable. I think our biggest issue here is that we just don't have a lot of ways to kill big creatures. That's the biggest flaw that we have in our deck that can be remedied in these slower kind of domain strategies. The other flaw is that these decks are always going to have a pretty bad matchup against the very aggressive decks, like the blue-red tempo decks in particular, are very good against these. But that's not really a flaw we could have remedied during the draft. But maybe had we taken some removal that's unconditional removal a little higher, we could have had a better win rate beating the decks that had like the double Morrow there. If we had Extinguish the Light, Citizens, Arrest, anything like that. Terra Sunder is my favorite one for these domain decks because they only require one colored pip of each mana, one green and one black. We'll see. This opponent isn't aggroing us out as efficiently as the last blue-red deck, but we're also not hitting lands very efficiently. So some upsides, some downsides this game. We might not be completely dead here, but I do really need a black source, so I'm pulling it out here. So we contribute to Urborg and also Vortuck Bone Rattle later. Alright, they can double spell off Najal here. We'll see how bad that is for us here. Double Lightning Strike means we have no blockers and we take 8. Alright, I think you've got it. Take 11, go to 5? I guess no, we take 8. They don't... Okay, never mind, we do take 11. 10. I'm very bad at math. I thought this was a +3/+0. Even if it was, I would have done the wrong math. Still. I guess it's not literal Kiln Fiend, it's a slightly weaker Kiln Fiend, but with a good kicker attached to it. Makes sense. You can board tuck, but I can't put Sojourner back on board because it's too much mana. Play 2 spells if I play a Librarian and a Tribute to Urborg, or a Rada and a Tribute. Kick a Tribute and play a Brawler. Probably my best bets. Getting a Jaw off the board so they can't double spell. Now Vohar can just sacrifice itself to bring back their Lightning Strike from grave. Shoot my Brawler and then Amplifier attacks me for 3. Yeah, these are just some pretty disgusting 2-mana cards for my opponent. Just going to be losing the blue-red tempo matchup again this time. More of a Grixis deck, but still a very bad matchup. All they need is a removal spell or a bounce spell, and they have won the game. And they've sure got it. 3 and 3. Another kind of sad run here, very average one. Would have liked to see this deck go better because it was a pretty fun one going for the Joda. I don't think the Joda ended up being good at all. We got to cast Joda a couple times, but it never really did much of anything because you have to cast Joda, then you have to cast the next legendary. It's a fun thing to try to do. I don't think it's actually worth it though. I think we could have had a better build of this deck if we just had a little bit better mana, like a few more duels or something. Cut Joda, and then a little bit of removal that can actually kill big creatures. I think that's the best deck we could have ended up with here. Maybe a tiny bit more defenders as well, like a second Shield Wall Sentinel would be pretty powerful in here. Overall, not super disappointed with it. A 3 and 3 run is perfectly fine. 50-50 win rate here. But I think this was a pretty spicy deck with some really fun cards in it, so it is still a little sad to just go average with it. We never got to play our Llanowar Green Widow. That's also pretty sad. One of the strongest cards in the whole deck. I think everything else got to show off a little bit, got to do some powerful stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. That is going to end today's video, going to end today's draft. As always, if you enjoyed, wow, that was a jumbled up statement. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, make sure to stick around on the channel. You can like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. We have the qualifier weekend coming up September 17th-ish, which is going to be Dominaria United Sealed. Very big, very competitive event there. And we have the Arena Open on October 1st, which is also Dominaria United Sealed. So those are the big videos, the big events coming up to look forward to. But outside of that, still just going to be hanging out, figuring out this format, stumbling around with some fun decks like this in the meantime. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.